Our OSS project was implementing MIME sniffing in the servo, which is a prototype web browser engine written in Rust. It's currently under development, so there's a lot of work to do. The specific issue we were working on was issue 3114, which is implementing MIME sniffing. Background information: when you do a web HTTP request, there's usually a content type header that tells you what kind of content it is. It's an image or an audio, but sometimes there's no such header. What other browsers do in that case is look through the first few bytes of the header of the actual file and determine what kind of data it is, and then use a different rendering based on that. So if it's an image, it would use an image renderer. If it's a video, it would play the video. We had to do, for our OSS project, we had to complete the initial step and the first step as highlighted here. Let's look through the code real quick. For the code, we had to create a file called sniffertasks.rs, modify a file called resourcetask.rs. For the modification, what we did was we made it so every time a loader was called for a file, HTTP request, or any kind of request, it would first go through the sniffer task. It would sniff all the data, parse any headers that were required, and then return back. So as you can see, we made a modification so it would first create a sniffer task and then pass it to the loader. The first function we called to create a sniffer task is new sniffer task, and what new sniffer task does is, if we go to the next file, it's going to create a channel and basically call the sniffer manager and create a new sniffer manager to sniff the headers. The sniffer manager just contains the channel information, and whenever the sniffer manager gets a new request, it will create a sniffer manager struct, and then whenever the sniffer manager is started, it will listen for any requests and then call the load function. And the load function in our case would just pass all the data back. In the future, there will be more code here to process what the sniffer would do, so the actual sniffing algorithm. To show that our code compiles, we can run the build command, and this will take about 2 minutes. I fast forwarded it and you can see the build completed. Now we can actually run a test here, and as we can see, everything loaded as it's supposed to. Now let's go through the merge request. We've created a merge request number 3766, and we first added some commits and got some feedback from Joss about any changes we had to make. So we have took care of a few issues, as you can see here, addressed issues, but there's a few more open issues that we'll take care in the final project.